First off, I just wanted to thank y'all really like for the past year. So I've been doing Arbonne now. It'll be 16 years next month. Insane. And so many of y'all have helped my team and poured into my team, and you probably don't even know it just with like the different materials you've provided over the years. So we are so happy to do this. And I've asked my team to be on as well, just because my leaders on my team, because they've played such a huge role in making this happen. So, so what I want to go over today is like, I really want to start off just by telling you a little bit about my story, just because it is relevant to how we got here. And then I'm going to tell you what we did, and then I'm going to show you our tools that we're using. And then I'd love for you to hear from my leaders so you can just ask them questions yourself to see how it's working. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. And like I said, we're recording. So if you wanted to share it with any of your leaders, that's totally fine to do. And I'll just post the recording back in this group. So like I said, my name's Andrea Rominger, and I've been doing this business next month 16 years. So crazy. I haven't done anything that long in my life except for be married to my husband, which was 20 years last month. But so my story is this. So my background is actually news. I was a news reporter for 10 years. And that's actually how I met my husband. He was a news reporter as well. And we were working in this town called Huntsville, Alabama. We actually live in Birmingham, Alabama now. But we were living in Huntsville, working for the CBS affiliate. That's where we started dating. So then he got a job offer at the number one station in Birmingham. So he took that job. About that time, we got engaged, we got married. Shortly after that, we started having babies. And when that happened, that's when we decided it wasn't a good idea to have us both working in the news business. Because if you know anything about news, it is an insane industry. Like here in Alabama, we're chasing down tornadoes, we're interviewing bad guys, we're being dragged out of bed at 3 in the morning. So we didn't think it'd be real conducive to our family life to have us both working in the news business. So I jumped out since we moved for his job, but I was looking for something that could leverage off of his schedule. And so basically, like I was looking for something that, he worked nights through the 10 o'clock news. And so I was looking for someone that would offer me that kind of flexibility. And there really was no one this is like long before what's going on now with people working from home. So I decided to start my own company, and that was public relations, marketing, media relations, freelance reporting, and that sort of thing. So I did that with the birth of my first daughter. The problem with that was that company became successful right off the bat. I had no problem bringing clients in, yay, but then I had to do all the work. Boo. So I was always stuck at this crossroads where if I wanted to have more time and for myself and my family, I had to give up the income. But if I wanted to have more income for myself and my family, I had to give up my time. And so I was always stuck at this crossroads, and I could never have like that perfect balance. And I really wondered if it even existed. I just thought that maybe this is why grown-ups look so tired, is because they burn at both ends. And so I thought I'd join the club and do the same thing. So I did that. And then I had a client who introduced me to Arbonne. And so she introduced me with a skincare, got on it right away. I've been using it for 17 years. I love it. But then she approached me about doing the business. And I was like, wait, what? Like, do you want me to sell something? And I mean, I'll be honest, I was a little offended. I guess I thought I was something bigger than I was back then. And I turned my nose up to it. So, but she was my client. So every time we'd get together, she'd bring it up, and I would backpedal out of the conversation, and I would just say, oh, you're so sweet to think of me. Thanks, but no thanks, because we're in the South and that's what we do. And so I just would turn her down every single time. And it wasn't until we were pregnant with our second daughter. When we had her, we had met with our financial planner just to make sure we were on track for certain things. And that same day that I had a meeting with our financial planner, I had a meeting with my client. And I just jokingly said when I walked into her office, I said, well, that was fun. I was like, when does your life fall together financially? Is it when you're 40? It's like poof, like everything just magically falls into place, and suddenly, you have everything you thought you were supposed to have as a grown up. And she started laughing, and she said, Andrea, she said, listen, I know you own your own company. She's like, but you're by the billable hour. She said, there's no difference between you and someone who's being paid salary, or you and someone who's being paid hourly. You're just trading time for money. She said, but with Arbonne, the sky's the limit. She said, all you do is you educate people on pure, safe, and beneficial. She said, if they're interested in the products, they join your network of consumers. But if they're interested in the business, you teach and train them to do exactly what it is that you're doing, which in turn grows your network of consumers. And I told her, I said, well, that sounds pretty straightforward. I'm like, how about this? How about I try it for 6 months? We'll see where it goes. If it doesn't work out, promise me you don't don't bring it up again. And she's like, okay, deal. So I jumped in, I went home and I told my husband, I said, hey, I think I'm going to do this Arbonne thing. He's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, Jackie just made it sound really good. And honestly, on the way home, I was talking myself out of it. But the two things that kept me from kept me from talking myself out of it was one, I could work this nooks and crannies because at this point in our life, we had a newborn, a less than 2-year-old. I had a company to run. We had no family here in town. And my husband, had a crazy schedule, and my mom had just been diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was 9 hours away. So my sister, who was in Atlanta, which was also 9 hours away from Orlando, I'm from Orlando, Florida originally, and then where I was living, like we would have to tag team taking care of my mom. So not the best time to be starting something new, but I'm so grateful that I did, because the second reason that really kept me looking into this was the fact that I could leverage my time. Because with my other company, the more successful it became like this monster that I didn't even want. Like I would almost go to pitch a new client and not like, want the work, because I would see, like I would want the income that came along with it, but I was like, how am I going to manage and make this work? So I just decided, I'm like, okay, well, how do I do this? How does one become successful at this? And my client's like, if you can just jump in and follow a system, and if you're coachable, you'll go to the top. And I was like, well, I'm the only person I know who reads the directions on the back of the shampoo bottle that says wash, rinse, and repeat. So I'm like, I'm your girl. So I jumped in, followed the system, and 6 months into doing this, and I know we're not supposed to give timelines here, but I wanted to just kind of like share with y'all, like just kind of like where I am now. And I think you'll find out in a second, like Arbonne will have no problem with me sharing my timeline to the top. 6 months into it, it was outperforming my company. So I thought, okay, let's give this another 6 months and see where it goes. So a year into it, I promoted to regional vice president. And so, I was like, all right, let's give this another 6 months and see where it goes. So, a year and a half into it, my husband left the news business. He took over my company, and now he's doing all kinds of nonprofit work out of there, which has been amazing. And I always tell people, think of Arbonne like this: it's not the thing, it's the thing that allows you to do the thing you really want to do, which for us was amazing, because before I felt like, I was like had my business and I was living my life around my business instead of the other way around. And now I feel like, I'm working my business around my life. And I know that it sounds like just like a small play on words, but it is everything. So I want to share with you, like, what does this have to do with where we are now? Well, 15 years later, I'm still an executive regional vice president. So no race to the tippy top. I mean, I've been a bonusing region that entire time. So I've been in a very comfortable place, and I've probably have a new team every year and a half. So that was the problem, is that I had to figure out what wasn't working. And this was about a couple months ago, probably about 3 or 4 months ago. Like I really like had to just, figure out like, what's not working. Like I'm in a comfortable place, but I'm not bringing my team up. Like I'm not duplicating them. And basically I thought back to what was going on in my business in the early days. And you have to remember back then, if any of y'all were around before then, there was no social media. There was no Zoom. In fact, like the best technology we had was freeconferencecall.com. Raise your hand if you remember that. And I remembered like why was my business working? Well, I was just telling people, book 8 presentations, 6 for success, 8 to be great, 10 to win. I mean, there's like no explaining that. Like just do this, and like it was very simple, because we were getting in front of 40 faces, but we were doing that like in a very simple way. Like there was no questioning it. There was no like, that is just what we did. So I was basically like one thing that started me thinking was I had a conversation with one of my leaders, Polly, raise your hand, one of my amazing, beautiful leaders. And so we were just talking on the phone one day, as we do every day, because she's my work wife. And she was saying, we were just talking about launching someone. And it had dawned on me that like, she's like, well, what do you send? I'm like, what do you mean? What do I send? I send this. And I knew that my region was duplicating, but once they got outside of my region, like people were starting to do their own things. And so like that kind of stuck in my mind. And then I listened to Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game, not starts with Y, but The Infinite Game. Write that down, and I want all of y'all to listen to that because it is an amazing talk that he gives, and it really put things in perspective. There's 5 points in there, but the one thing that really stood out to me was he said that you had like I realized that I had to have the courage to blow things up to make them better. So like and that's like the last point when you watch The Infinite Game. But like but basically I realized I had to like take 2 steps back to go 5 steps forward. So what I did was I asked my leaders, I asked for their trust first off. We had a call and I just asked my leaders for their trust for the next 90 days, and let me be open to work with them and dig down into their teams. 2 things about that. One, it was a commitment on my part because I realized I wouldn't be growing my region like I should be. Because again, over this whole 15 years, I've been out in and out of nation calls several times. I mean, so many times that like I feel bad when we go into it. I don't even get excited anymore because I'm like that's not the goal. The goal is to like, you know, like just be growing everyone. And so so I knew that like I had to make this like if I was going to work with all of my leaders that it wouldn't leave as much time to be working in my region. Like I still was, but it wasn't going to be like that heavy push that I had. And then the second thing was we all had to put our egos aside. And, you know, that's not easy for everyone because I mean, it kind of felt like, you know, like, I mean, you can imagine like some of my leaders have been around for a while. And for me to be like, you know, like to go back to like the absolute basics and like me to be like picking apart their business, like each and every step. And let me just say that it wasn't that I had all the answers. I was just going by the playbook. Like it wasn't like this is my system and this is what we're doing. Like I just went by the playbook that's been laid out by multiple leaders, you know, throughout Arbonne. So so basically once I started working with my teams, it became clear that like in this radical shift to become online, that everyone had their own ways of doing things and it wasn't consistent with a system. So it's like before where I would just be like book 8 presentations, you know, like then we had, you know, Facebook parties and we had like healthy happy hours. We also had people who were reaching out over Instagram, you know, doing messages back and forth, sending out videos, you know, and they were all components of a system, but they weren't like done in a way where it was like this builds on this and this builds on this, but no matter what, do this, you know. And so it became very clear. It was like almost like playing the telephone game, and we do that at trainings a lot, you know, where you tell someone a secret and then like it goes through, and by the end of the secret, like by the end of the time, like you've got a whole different story. Like that's kind of like what was going on with my team. So so like, and just to give you some examples, is like one team I discovered that like they were just having like their new consultants like take the text off of our website, you know, like the example text to like do reach out text. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And like when we like just fixed that little shift, her business took off. One leader self-diagnosed herself that she was afraid of micromanaging, that she was the people that she was signing up, and she was just leaving them alone because, you know, like she didn't want to be a micromanager, you know, like it was like trying to find that perfect balance of working your business, but, you know, also leading a team. And then someone, you know, I had also discovered, like in another team, that consultants didn't even know what tools were available. Like I was like speaking a foreign language when I said the one sheeter, and I'll share that with y'all at the end because we're excited about that. So one thing I want to make perfectly clear, I take full responsibility for this. Like it's my job to make sure that our organization is duplicating, and I was not doing a good job. Like, I mean, and like, that's the other thing I noticed. I had my leaders themselves are amazing, awesome people. Like, I mean, like aces. Like you would see them, like if they weren't doing Arbonne, like you would like meet with them and be like, I want them on my team. Well, you can't duplicate a person. You know, like I can't have like a million of these awesome people on my team, but I can duplicate a system, you know. And that's like what was becoming evident to me too, that all the people at the top were just awesome people, you know, and like they could get by with just being awesomeness, that, you know, like that people would just want to follow them. So I knew everyone on our team like needed some level of training, but they were all in different places. So I had my leaders read, and I want y'all to write this down: Leadership and the 1 Minute Manager. This is about situational leadership, and it is life changing. It is the hokiest book how it's written. You can read it in one night, like it's a quick read. My husband actually had me read this book, and I highly recommend it because, and I would highly recommend that as people become managers on your team. But basically, what it is it's about matching your leadership style with the person you are working with and where they are on that subject. So, for example, like a new person who's starting out in Arbonne, like they're going to have like high excitement, but they're going to be low on knowing like the basics, where you might have someone who is, let's say, a district kind of trying to go area, who they're high on the knowledge but low on the excitement. So it's like, how do you coach those different people? And there are different ways to coach people. And I was finding out with myself, I was always defaulting back to the same leadership style. So that was very helpful. So I had each leader pick out a consultant or two and work with them in tandem. So like we worked with them in tandem. And what I mean by that, like they started out with, they put their on the text, they put their one person on a text and me on a text, and we explained what we were doing. Like we're like, hey, we're going to be like making sure like you're going to have two leaders working with you. How exciting is this? And like we're going to like literally like take you step by step. So we stripped down anything that wasn't the system. We made it so simple. And like again, this is hard when you know like everything. Like you're like, "Oh, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this?" Well, someone doesn't need to know step 6 if they haven't even done step 1. And like what I realized was I was wasting a lot of time training people to step 6 when they weren't even ever going to do step 1. So that's one thing for yourself. But then another thing is it was overwhelming them, and they were worried about step 6 when they didn't even do step 1. So we made it so simple. Along the way, we documented the process and created the tools to make it easy to duplicate for everyone in the future. And it's working. All right, to say my leaders saw a huge shift in their business is an understatement. So let's talk about the tools. So every week I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to share the screen. Okay. And I am gonna, oh, hang on, it's sharing, but it's not like moving. Here we go. I don't know why let me see like why it's not. There we go. Need to like move this over and down some so I can reach this. Okay. So for some reason my little mouse is like late in responding. But y'all can see like my screen, right?
It's still on the Zoom, like the Zoom screen thing.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna switch it. I can't get my little mouse to like, it's almost like it's delayed. Let me move this down some. Okay. Okay. So what we started was it became very clear that like, and I did this when I first started my business. Again, when I first started my business, like so again, we had a newborn, a less than 2-year-old. My husband worked nights, AKA I had the witching hour with my kids, like the bath, the bed, like all of that. But it also meant that I had these magical hours between 8 and 10 o'clock at night before my husband would get home, and like where my kids were sleeping, that I would knock out my business. And I was always doing a getting started training. So like I went back to that of doing a getting started training every single week. So every single Monday at 8 o'clock, I do a getting started training. What I do before I start showing these slides is I go over the numbers, and I go over the numbers in this chart that that I had made when I first started my business. So it's not like this chart that's like, I mean, I'd say it's compliant in the way that like it shows you like how to get through the levels and everything, but I don't know if that's like a compliant document where I would do like a recording or anything like that on. But like basically it's because it's a chart that I made that just shows you like this is how like it explains how you get paid like through direct selling and social marketing. And then I tell them the rest of the time we're going to be talking about social marketing and how to grow a social marketing business. And I take them through this is how you get to consultant, this is how you get to district, this, and so on and so forth. So I think that that's really important because I know for myself, I needed to know like what the end game was, like what is my goal. I just remember being confused when I first started, like, am I signing up people to like buy product, or am I signing up people to do the business? And I don't know why that wasn't so clear when I first started, but the answer is yes to both of those things. So then we take them through the getting started training. So we go through the why, and and if you see here, I'm going to walk you through this too. You see where it says set up your tracker? So like I'm going to walk you through like kind of like in tandem like what we do. So I start out with the what is your why, and I give them this whole story about like what I learned at a GTC years ago from an MVP. He was explaining their why, but I tell them why it's so important to give your why. Well, we then have this tracker, and this is actually someone's tracker on my team that I'm working with. So like, I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you like the tracker from the beginning. So like this is our tracker. It's a Google Doc. So and this is like an awesome tool that we have. There's actually like a couple tools I want you to see. So this is our tracker, and it just basically says, if you can't read it, like, welcome to our team. With Arbonne, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Whatever your goals, we will match your efforts to help get you there. The goal of our business is simple. We create and grow massive networks of consumers. You could easily grow a small network by yourself, but nothing compares to what you can grow with a team. In order to do this, three things must happen. You must find people to talk to, prospect. You must talk to the people you find, present, and then you teach your team to do the same, duplicate. So we break everything up, like everything has to fall into this category. So we have a simple system for success. We share product and business with 40 people each month. This spreadsheet will help get you started. Share it with your sponsor and AM or VP, and they can help you launch your business. So like basically like what we do is, hang on, so then we have a checklist when we're getting someone started. So we have people like basically like a checklist of different things that need to happen like when you're getting started. The amazing thing is that you're sharing this with your person. So if you can look up at my browser right now, do you see how many people, like, I mean, I'm working with different people right now. Like that's what my Google Chrome looks like all the time. Like I've always got people's trackers up because that's the only way I can work with them. And I'm going to show you something that's pretty amazing when we get to this one point in the tracker. So like I said, in the getting started training, we have the 21 reasons why. So we have this, in here where like basically like they write down their 21 reasons why they're doing this business. And so that's one of my new consultants who did hers. So then we say our system for success. So again, our system is simple. We all know this. We share product and business with 40 people each month. Okay, so here's the thing that I think is like really amazing in our business. Like, so let me see whose I should go to. Well, let me go to like a random one. Okay, so this is just like a sample one to show you. So like we have this 100-person list / IPA tracker. Okay, so this is just a fake one right here. But so this just shows you like we have it. My husband color coded it for me. So and for our team. So basically like when you're talking to some, like, so they put all 100 other people in their 100-person list. Okay, again, something that's amazing is that I'll be talking to someone and I'll say, they'll be like, okay, when can we talk again, like to do my text? And I'll be like, where are you on your 100-person list? Oh, I have 86. Okay, get to 100 and we'll schedule that call. Like, I can't tell you how many times that I'd be like, okay. And like, we get on the next step and we get them going. No, it's a 100-person list. This is a numbers game. We know that if you reach out to 100 people, only 30 are going to respond. We need to get in front of 40 people, so there's no sense, because before I would spend all this time crafting a tech, doing the next step, and they haven't even gotten their 100-person list down. So like this saves me time, and it's it keeps them on task for like what we need, you know, like what's the most important thing. So they put their 100-person list down. Okay, so sorry, I'll have to keep moving this around because that little bar from Zoom. So, um, and I'll show you this in a minute, but like the most important thing is that we show them the one sheeter. So this is like a sample of, you know, like that tracker. And I'll show you all what the one sheeter is, because I actually worked with compliance for months to get an amazing, beautiful one sheeter. And I offered it to Arbonne, but they said, they're like, we already have a one sheeter. And I'm like, it's not the same. But anyway, so you're more than welcome to use it. But okay, and it's 100% compliant. Okay, let me see if I can get this going. Okay, so then the next thing in the getting started is we teach them that we're building in $2,500 bricks. And so again, this is really important to teach people this, because, you know, I let them know, like, even if you're a national vice president, or if you're a brand new consultant, like, we teach everyone to build in $2,500 bricks. So then the next question is, how do you do that? So the first goal we explain is getting them into DM or area quals. We're really pushing towards getting people towards area quals now, because honestly, isn't that what all the teams that are popping doing? So like, we teach them how to do that, which is again, building in $2,500 bricks, and then locking arms with 2 people and teaching them how to do that, and then adding a 3rd person in, and that gets you to the 10. And I know y'all understand the math, so I'm not gonna like go through it like how I would with the getting started training. So then the next question is, well, how do you build in a $2,500 brick? You make your list of 100 people. So I showed you all that on our tracker, the 100-person list. So again, like, they get to their 100-person list, and I tell them in the getting started training, it's not 86, it's not 94, it's 100. So when you get to the 100-person list, then you go to the next step. You compose text with your sponsor. Okay, this is pivotal. This is what happened in one person's business, where they thought, I mean, I pride ourselves that we're not a cut and paste business. What we were finding is that some people were just going to the website and grabbing, you know, a text off of there. You know, that'd be nice if this world worked like that, but it doesn't. It's not. We're building relationships with people, and we're coaching people, and we're leading people. It's, you know, we're not just like, yes, we're plugging people into a system, but we're not plugging them in so much that they lose like the one-on-one coaching. Because here's what you find: when you work with someone on these texts, you might find that they feel like there might be a couple words in that text that make them feel a little icky. You know, like they feel like a little bit cheesy, or they feel like it's not authentic to them, or, you know, like just different things. And I want to read to y'all some text, because you see the texts that are there. I'm going to read to you some sample text so you can see how different this is for each person. Let's see, sample reach outs. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so there's I'm going to read you just 2 different texts that that are like completely different situations, that are play on this text, but they are different in because they are authentic to the person. Okay, so one text will go, "Hey there, hope you are well. This may seem totally random and out of the blue, but I just started a side business with Arbonne, a vegan health and wellness company. I was instantly drawn to their holistic approach and mission of sustainability. I thought of you because we share some of the same values. I would love to show you what I'm doing and hear what you think, no strings attached. Would you be up for a 20-minute virtual coffee date? I promise I'm not going to be that girl," because this is what the girl was like really self-conscious about. Crazy face emoji. "I truly just want to show you what this is all about. Do you have some time this week?" Okay, there's one. Sounds totally fine. Like, I'd be proud to send that out to anyone. And it took about like 15 minutes to like drill down with her and figure out, like, what do you want to say? Like, what about this text makes you feel icky? Like, what are we not conveying to the person? Okay, so the next one is about a girl on my team. I actually went to middle school with her, and she wouldn't mind me sharing this. She's going through an international divorce, which has dragged on for years, she said, and it's just been awful. So she told me, she's like, listen, if I just text people about Arbonne, they're going to be like, you know, like, they're going to like know that it's just going to be weird. Like, I need to acknowledge, you know, like what's been going on. And I was like, great, own it. You know, so this is what we came up with her. Hi, hope you are well and staying safe. To say life has been crazy for me and my family is an understatement, smirky face, as I'm sure it has been for the rest of the world. But I'm excited for how we are coming out of this. I would love to schedule some time for a virtual coffee date and show you what I'm doing and pick your brain after. If there's something that I have learned, it is that I could not be where I am without the love and support from my family and friends, face with hearts around it. Could you hope could you hop on a Zoom with me and my business partner and childhood friend Andrea to hear what we are up to? I would love the chance to show you what we are doing and pick your brain. What's your schedule like this week? So you see, like they're very different and specific to the person. And yes, it does take time to do. But what we were finding is that like if someone didn't feel awesome about their text, like when I have someone, when I send them the text back, we're going back and forth, they're like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, no, fine's not gonna cut it. I want you to be like, that's stinking awesome. Because like if it's not stinking awesome, they're not gonna send it out. And what you find is you're gonna be like, did you send your text out to your 100-person list? No, I didn't get around to it. Like they're going to have every excuse because they're not even going to realize why they're not sending it out, but it's just giving them a bad feeling. Does that make sense? So like this step, I can't tell you enough how important this is. This would be back for some of you people who were back in the old days. Like you wouldn't have just told someone to like go out and do their own presentation. You do their presentation with them. It's the same thing. Like you're like creating their text, like you're putting their face on what's going out to their friends in their network. Okay, so the next thing I tell them is start with your dream team. And I say, if we lived in a perfect world and everyone told you yes, who would you handpick to be on your board of directors? And so what we do with their dream team is we have them highlight their dream team in their 100-person list, okay? So then we present to the dream team. So whether we do like one-on-ones or groups, I personally like doing one-on-ones better because like again, and again, I always explain to people on our team, your number one goal is to find a business partner. Your number two goal is to find someone to host. Your number three goal is to sell product. Why? Because if you have a business partner, you've just built a multi-million dollar leg in your business. If you have someone that hosts, you've just built a multi-thousand-dollar leg in your business. If you have someone that buys product, it's a couple $100s. So like I explained to them the math of why that it seems like it's in reverse, but this is what we're going for. And so we have these dream teams. I actually had a call about this a little bit before, a voice text about like, do we do like one-on-ones or groups? But I like to have this dream team be, and I explained to them, like we're not building your friends and like we're not building your business off your friends and family. Like that would be a terrible business plan, like no, like you wouldn't open a shoe store and expect to just sell it to your friends and family. And I mean, again, like I try and dispel all these myths like when when we're doing the getting started training, because that they have these icky pinup feelings, like I don't want to be that I don't want to be annoying. Well, I can't make you annoying. You're either already annoying and don't know it, or you're not. I was like, but Arbonne's not going to make you annoying. So like I try and explain all these things on the getting started, just so like we can go ahead and address these things. Okay. So then we continue with our 100-person list, and I'm going to show you our website. Like these are our exposures right here: one-on-one, group, Facebook party, or sending videos. Okay. And so like that's it. And so then I explained to them that it's multiple exposures over a short period of time. And then we end here with our next step. So I tell all of them, create your 100-person list and identify your dream team, compose your text with your sponsor and send your text, get in front of the dream team and continue reach outs. So I want to show you here on this, like on the spreadsheet, because this is like really, and I want to like Gabby and my husband, I want to give like kudos to, because they like did an amazing job with this. So let me see. Okay, so this is the checklist. So then we have a place to write her I story. So we're actually writing her I story. We're in the process of writing her I story right now. And then this is her 100-person list IPA tracker. So see how it's like she's already like reaching out to people. And then we have a team tracker. She hasn't built a team yet, but this is great because like you could put like, this is how you keep track of your team. Like, okay, I'm working with so-and-so, next action, text verbiage. And then we have a place where they can put verbiage in there. So like, like you might have like, well, how I reach out to someone to host is this way, but how I reach someone to take a look is this way. So instead of them like scrolling through all their text, you know, like I usually encourage them to get Wordboard to put it in, but this is what keeps it in there. So then I can look at this and see like, okay, you know, like what are the texts that you're sending? So the most important thing I want to show you, like the most eye-opening thing, hold on, let me open this up on my other computer, is that we like what is so eye-opening about this is that like you can see like, well, let me see if I can like pull up mine. Where's mine? My color coding is off on mine. My husband's about to fix that. But like you can see like where it says one sheeter, yes, 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 like that. Like, have I showed these people the one sheeter? That is the most important thing because it's like you can be working with someone and like I know that like a leader on my team had done this already, and like it was easy to see like why this girl wasn't getting traction because she hasn't presented the one sheeter yet. So it might be that they saw a Facebook party, or you sent them samples, or you mentioned Arbonne, or you casually had a conversation, but you cannot count them as your 40 people unless you have shown them the one sheeter. What is the one sheeter? This right here. Okay, this is months of work, and compliance has signed off on it. I've gotten to know them really, really well. But like this is Arbonne in 15 minutes. Look how beautiful this is. Like what I love about this is it gives people value. They walk out of there knowing something. They walk out of there knowing how to check their ingredient labels. They know, you know, Arbonne's brand, our products. They know, you know, they just walk out of there learning something. And I can tell you every time we present this, someone says, "Oh, this isn't what I thought it was at all." You know, and so and they're appreciative for learning what they've learned. So so anyway, so that's what we do. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and just see, does that make sense? I think that the main tools are the getting started, which I'm sure most of y'all do that anyway. But that tracker tool has been huge because like the thing is that like you're working in tandem. If they go away, you have their list of names. And you can literally go on Facebook and start looking for some of these people. But like you're also, you know, you're like working with them most importantly, and like you can spot trouble before it starts. You know what I'm saying? And like you're really like working with them. So I want to invite Polly on here. Polly,
Hey
I think
guys, yeah.
can we hear you? Oh yeah.
Wait just a second. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. I finally got it. Kind of sorry about the craziness in the beginning. So yeah, I was looking at all the questions and oh my gosh, y'all, we're so first off, we have such amazing, we just have an amazing team. Like we complete each other. So Gabby, who's a regional vice president on my team, on the team.
And then I think Yin's
Gabby
here.
waved her hand. Who's Prego. And so Gabby's strength is definitely organization, and she and Andrea together definitely have done the bulk of the work on this, on the system and all the different things. But I will tell you, for me personally, what it's done is completely changed in terms of, and I mean, I've also been a regional vice president for a long time, but that doesn't matter. I mean, that's why we're all here. It's like sometimes we get lost, or we get, you know, we're like a little bit confused. And that was what we were finding, is there was just confusion. Like, wait, what's the next step? What's the first step? There is so much clarity, and that makes a huge difference. And I think I put this in the comments, but I'm launching 3 new people right now, and it's just so easy compared to what it used to be. I know exactly where they are. I know exactly what step they're on. They know what they're doing. They feel comfortable. And if you feel confident, and Andrea said this too, if they feel confident about what they're sending out and how they're asking, they will do it. And then the other piece of that is, it's, you know, this is, yes, we're having them send out all, it is more time consuming, but it has been